The opinions in the show that follows are those of the hosts and their guest. They are not meant to reflect the opinions of Long Beach Public Media or KLBP Long Beach Public Radio.
Yeah.
Cash. Los Angeles. Rock and roll. My money.
When will they stop?
Well, now. Long Beach, clear skies.
And now, on with the show.
And welcome to your weekend right here at KLBP. This is Mornings on the Beach, or Saturday, Sunday, entertainment, information. What else do we do? Dedication. It's all here. My name is Danny Lemos.
I'm Mike Stark.
I'm Barbara Kingsley Wilson.
And Barbara's in for Melanie. Melanie's taking the day off. We gave her 2 weeks and she needed more time.
I get it.
That's the way it goes. Today on the show, eat dinner naked. Now, some of you out there might already, but this is an interesting restaurant you can go to where you can eat dinner naked. We'll get into that as well.
And today there will be sex on the show.
That's a great tease. Special guests coming on in, and they'll be here later. Barbara, like I said, mentioning Barbara sitting in for Melanie, but we're going to start with Barbara and her regular news roundup. All right, whenever you're ready.
Okay, thank you, Danny. Long Beach City Council will be wrestling with the fallout from $58 million budget gap. More than 260 city employees could be laid off, and over 200 more vacant positions might be cut in departments ranging from fire and police to homeless services, according to the Long Beach Post. The council will finalize the budget by September after a series of public forums. Also, Long Beach's LGBTQ Center is no longer offering gender-affirming care after two key medical providers stepped away from the nonprofit, citing insufficient staffing and poor leadership. It's the latest evidence of the nonprofit's behind-the-scenes turmoil. The latest move forced the center to secure new healthcare providers to serve the hundreds of locals who rely on it for treatment and limited the types of service it can provide. Under the new providers, the center will continue offering STI screenings and treatment as well as contraception, but patients who receive gender-affirming care must now seek services elsewhere at partner clinics, according to the center's board of directors. And Southwest Airlines announced Monday it will offer new nonstop flights between Long Beach and Seattle and Portland as part of the company's effort to grab a larger share of LA's regional market. Flights will run 6 days a week, according to airport officials. And check your email. It's time for the latest LA 28 ticket drop. Those who got a spot or didn't use their ticket allotment in previous drops might have received a notice that includes events in Long Beach and the surrounding area. Events in Long Beach include open water swimming, volleyball, and rowing at Marine Stadium. And that's the news.
That's great. Thank you so much for that. It is interesting, some of the stories you got to are the ones that were on my list to talk about today. But the budget cuts, I think, are the one thing that really got everyone's attention in the past week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the projections that are making, and I pay attention to stuff. We've talked on the show before about how I feel about the new road diet they put up on Broadway and all the bike lanes and whatever. It turns out that we've had more deaths since they started that program, number one. And number two, the roads, as they're being fixed now, we're at a peak at the moment. 65% of all the roads in Long Beach are scheduled for repair before the end of 2027. However, once the cuts from this budget pull in next year, we will see that go down to 13% of the roads in Long Beach that need repair will be handled by 2032. So, whatever your thing is, it's in the budget and it's going to get cut somehow. Whether... I want to know how much money they spent changing out the color of the trash bins for the recycling from purple to blue, because that was short-sighted. They thought the budget cut was coming, but they're here, right?
That is true. And also the road diet stuff, a lot of that's grant funding. It's different funding. But and there is city resources as well. But it's a story that will be coming up. But yeah, lots of whys on that, And staffing, salaries, some choices. It's all going to be talked about in the coming weeks.
And also we've got a cameras coming, traffic cameras, or they call them intersection cameras, that they're almost finished, they said, installing. But I read somewhere that I don't think they're going to start using them until 2027.
These are the speed cameras, right?
Yeah, because they figured that's the problem why more people are getting into accidents is due to speed.
Right.
But there's so many factors.
Right.
You know, I really never felt like I had to take my life into my hands when I turned the corner at my own house because the blocked cars, you can't see anybody coming. Everybody's parking wherever they can. And the state law that went into effect in July 1st about parking near the 3 feet of the corner.
Dream.
They went out and painted all of the corners bright red again, and then everybody ignored them.
Yeah.
It's like, this is still happening.
Right.
Sure.
So I don't know whether there's money that will be, taken away from our budget or whatever if we're not complying, but at least they're trying.
Yeah.
And there's some mitigation going on in Alamitos Beach where they're putting bollards up around the corner. Unfortunately, whoever designed that didn't realize that the bollards are wide enough to park a car through. Some people are thinking, oh, look, there's my new space. Yeah, it is just a problem.
I talked to a biking official. I thought they were going away from the bollards, or they're changing the ones that have been on Bellflower and Studebaker. They get knocked down.
They sure do.
They really they don't, squished. I know
Totally.
they do repair them periodically, but I guess they're going away from bollards and trying to go more toward protected lanes.
I only got 4 of them last year.
Danny, you wouldn't.
Those Bellflower, I wouldn't.
Pick it up, Danny.
But it's just one of those things that you think, okay, well, it's all trying to make it better. I know, I get it. They're trying to get you out of your car. But other than locking you out of your car, that choice is not easy to make.
They're trying to have more options for transportation and not just cars.
And I hope we can succeed on that for sure. But you mentioned already the Long Beach Center, and it's interesting how in 2014, when I had a student who was deep in the LGBTQ Center, in their administration, she was like a support system. She was telling me about all these things going on behind the scenes, and I thought, oh, it's probably just gossip. Turns out most of it's coming true. She was saying all the shenanigans that were going on in their administration and how people were out. There was a lot to do with voting and who was in charge and what they were going to do.
So all of this was bubbling under, but it seems like the Pride event brought everything kind of to the surface.
Because, like you said, speaking of the surface, the tip of the iceberg finally got larger above the surface. You can see what's the heck's going on here.
Yeah, exactly.
But as I mentioned on a previous show, if you're trying to get yourself permitted for a major event like that, everything changed on January 1st. It's enormous. The application is like 26 pages. It's really, and then you have to give them all this information. You have to hire security. You have to have bathrooms. It's really tough. Yeah. So I can see why they failed. That staff wasn't ready for that kind of a task, and they fired the company they paid $400,000 to do it. So they said, we'll do it ourselves. It could be like saying our mighty little KLBP staff decided to take on the Grand Prix.
Right.
How would you do it? That's wild. Yeah, but Long Beach, I don't know if you know this, but home restaurants are legal at the moment in Long Beach.
Yeah, I just realized that, and I think in Lakewood, too, where I live.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you have a big enough house. Can I come over? We'll charge. Well, there's a story of a restaurant that's charging $65 for a sit-down meal per person, and it's a steak meal. It's really well cooked. The guy's a chef, right? He just doesn't have a restaurant. So he's cooking this meal and making a profit at it. It's only temporary. I hear it's going to go away soon. But if you've been on the corner of 10th and Martin Luther King Boulevard, go on a weekend and just lift your nose into the air. You'll see it. It's a red canopy, and the guy has like truck businesses during the week.
Right.
On Saturday and Sunday, he puts tables in the driveway of his apartment building and then starts cooking. We pass it every Saturday on our way to Aldi to buy groceries, and it smells like heaven.
Wow.
I just have enough courage to get out yet because it's a real sketchy part of town. So I just wonder. I thought, is it for his family only? Then I saw the price list. I thought, oh no, he's selling. Yeah. So, and it's because of this new policy that allows people to have restaurants at home.
And they get inspected, I take it, like other restaurants?
I don't know about that.
Because I would think so.
Yeah, but I would think there'd be some, especially when you talk about all the forms you have to fill out to do everything else.
But I would imagine that the people that they're granting this permission have you have to have a food safety certificate, number one. So you have to know about spoilage and all that stuff. So that may be a part of the application process. And speaking of the application process, the 81 apartments have come available on the corner of 4th or 3rd and Alamitos. That big, nice green and white building now. They're almost done. And people can apply to be there under a reduced rent. So if you can make, let's see, the rent's going to be $1,500 for one of their apartments. So if you make $3,000 a year they'll subsidize your rent, right? And if you make less than the medium poverty level in the country, right? So guess what? I can apply. I volunteer a lot. And that's important. You have to have other aspects of your application have to include whether you volunteer, what do you bring to the community. Right. So they're looking for that. But my problem with it was, hey, I could use a break in my rent.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want to take a slot from somebody who might be more needy, and they would judge you by your application.
Right.
And then, but there's no place to put a picture of Boomer, and I think that would be the deal breaker. They probably wouldn't let me bring a dog
they probably
up in
wouldn't.
there. It's a beautiful building. They just finished it, so it's really nice. So stick around right here. We're going to hear a song.
Yeah, we're going to hear Turnpike Troubadours, who just landed a booking at the new Long Beach Amphitheater later in the year. I got my tickets, and so this is Turnpike Troubadours with Sierra Hull and a song called Feeling Good Again. That's Turnpike Troubadours with Sierra Hull and a song called Feeling Good Again.
It's great. It makes me feel good again, too. It's a great song. I want to find out where you're getting all of your information about concerts. Every time you talk about a concert that's just been announced, you have your tickets already. So
yeah, I get alerts from Ticketmaster and Access and various things. And the amphitheater itself, they send out notifications when they add shows. Because they're still trying to sell it out. You know, they're like every other venue in America right now. They're having trouble selling seats.
There was the article, I believe, in the Long Beach Post about first-person experience, and they said the things we've been saying, which is it's a great place to go except for the parking and the bathrooms. So, the porta potties.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then that's easily fixed if you get some more containers out there. Turn those into, they can make tiny homes out of them.
Yeah, and at some point it's going to be a permanent thing, and then they'll have permanent restrooms, and they'll have all the infrastructure in there that isn't there now.
Right.
Because it's a 10-year temporary, right?
Yeah. I think it's 5-year, but
5-year, okay.
Maybe.
You know what I was thinking about when we were talking all about the budget cuts in Long Beach? For the last 5 years, I've watched this explosive growth in downtown Long Beach, right? In apartments and whatever. And when the residents go to city council and talk about, like, can we slow this down? They're told that the city needs it for the tax money. And the shoreline, same thing. It's going to be great for tax money. Where is the tax money?
Where is it
Yeah.
going?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And maybe there's, just like that, maybe I'm one of those harbingers of future. Maybe there is something going on and we don't know about. Where's the tax money? In the same place, I guess, where the homeless money went. Check under the carpet.
Ouch.
And I'm not making allegations. I'm just saying, as a resident, we muse on why we put up with 5 major festivals a year, and we're told it's because we need the tax money.
Yeah, I think we need to get some of the Long Beach Post people in here to maybe analyze it a little closer for us.
Absolutely.
Because you're right. None of it makes sense with all the budget cuts and then all of this revenue coming in. It doesn't match up.
And let's not include, or let's not become DC, because this past week, while we were off, right, the big stupid is what they call what went on regarding a presentation made by the State Department and a map of Africa that had the cities in the wrong places. Now, the explanation, of course, is that they used AI, and it was they always say it was somebody younger when they screw up, like a student.
Right.
But then why are they there in the first place if they don't know what they're doing? And this person didn't check the map after the AI had made adjustments to his map and presented it. And, of course, made the State Department. And I don't think that Marco Rubio needs any more help being stupid. But he came off that way, and he made the administration look like, don't they? I mean, this goes in line with the hurricane map that he drew.
Sure.
What the heck is going on?
So I'm wondering why they used AI and why they didn't just use Google Maps, because Google Maps is usually pretty right on target.
You know what? And then there's a clue right there,
Apple
I
Maps,
bet.
too.
What did they do with his Gulf of America? That's probably the way they're not allowed to use Google Maps. But you're right. How can you mess that up? It seems simple enough to be able to, whatever. But that's what's going on. But I do like the fact that the fired correspondents from 60 Minutes are going to be in the Columbia School of Journalism.
It's teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to be teaching soon.
Which is great.
And there was another article that came out this week about the former executives from 60 Minutes that left are planning to put together their own show and offer it online. Now, when one of them was reached out for comment, he said, that's really not a true story. But other people said, no, he's just trying to get you away
He's
from
sandbagging.
Yeah. Because that'd be a great idea if there was an independently produced, where...
Well, and it's also proven nowadays that more people watch things online than they do on TV.
Right.
So that might be that might be a better platform for a show like that anyway.
Did you see John Oliver's bit on cryptocurrency?
No, I did not.
Oh my God, it's 15 minutes of the best television, which should scare us. But as an article I read this morning in The Atlantic said, it's the way he does it that doesn't make it. It's like between you and me, there's a joke.
Yeah.
And he tells you the joke. But it's all the information should cause major concern when he lines up all the billions that this man is profiting off his office. And he just gives you example after example after example of how he does that. But a great show. I mean, if you don't watch it, I watch it online. I don't pay for it. But he's so great. And what he did a couple weeks back was another great analogy or another great show where he was trying to talk about Buc-ee's. So Buc-ee's, I don't know, you know what Buc-ee's is? Do you know what Stookies is?
Oh, yeah,
the highway stores.
Okay.
They're enormous. So you take a 7-Eleven and you blow it up about 100 times. And that's a Stookies. It's filled with everything you want to imagine.
Oh, on the highway.
Yeah. And about 100 gas pumps out front. I mean, it's a massive thing.
Right.
And they're a big chain. Well, there was a merchant in, I believe it was Texas, that his logo looked somewhat similar, at least that's what Buc-ee claimed. So they sued this guy who was in business for 28 years with this. He has one store in a tiny town in Texas, and they sued him. So Oliver's show was about suing Buc-ee's and how he threatened, hey, listen, I know he ain't got the money, but HBO does, so bring it. And the next day, they brought the lawsuit, and he's getting involved in trying. I love that he's involved in like saying no. So what he did was he created a character called Buck Off. and Buck Off is a kangaroo that looks just like the Bucky Beaver. And he says, go ahead, sue us. And then he showed a line of 300 pieces of merchandise that he created that he put the kangaroo on and said, go ahead, come on, bring it.
Yeah. John Oliver is famous for getting involved in that. And,
Very much.
as a news person yourself, you know that news people aren't supposed to become part of the news.
Right.
But he does it with such humor and such great.
He really does a good job.
Yeah, he does a great job at it.
And like the author said of the article, he doesn't scare you when you should be frightened. He doesn't really scare you because you're in on the joke that he's making.
Right.
And he has a great sense of making it sound like it's just between you two, you and the viewer. That's awesome. That's really great. But speaking of The Atlantic, this week I saw an article that really caught my attention because it's Americans are turning on Trump. And it's talking about the way he's losing his gains with the minority communities, Black, Hispanic to be sure, and young voters. That's what populated him right into the 2024 election. Mm-hmm. Big, massive support from those groups that has now waned to almost nothing because of the policies revolve one thing or another and just spin a wheel and take a pick.
Yeah.
Which policy it is. But it's one of those things that I think that I bring up because in conversations, as we all know, my conversations at the dog park are the litmus test for Long Beach, and that the feeling out there is that people need hope. And I said, just watch what's going on. This massive thing, like an ocean liner turning. It's starting to turn slowly. And we had the election in Michigan this past week. Is that
El Sayed
Yeah,
won.
yeah. Whoa.
Yeah. Narrowly he won.
Yeah, and his platforms, right? What does he get money out of politics, right? And healthcare for everyone, which I totally support. We could do an entire show on that. But it's interesting to see what's turning. People are beginning to say, we've had enough of you. And Jeanine Pirro, that was the ultimate, like, you know what, dude? Sit down and shut up.
You know, I wouldn't turn on her. I wouldn't turn on her.
I wouldn't turn my back on her.
I have a feeling that if he, fires her or whatever, That won't be the last we'll hear from her.
Oh, no. Hell no. And
He's been tough on his lawyers.
Yeah,
so
she'll have a couple glasses of wine and let loose.
So, and is she sounds to me like she grew up in New York, right? A New Yorker, and she ain't going to take it.
No,
and
she's
she had
not.
taken enough of it. And apparently, the articles were written with, I love how they say, with people familiar with the matter, meaning somebody gossiped about it in the hallway. But they're saying that all the other Republican congressmen who are just not vocal are also saying, you know what, we've heard this one too much. Get off that stupid line about that reflecting pool.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Well, it's going to be interesting times as we approach the midterms, and all of these primaries are starting to settle in, and the whole discussion about the democratic socialists. And, of course, the Republicans will not use that term. They're immediately commies.
Yeah, of
Right.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's so Trump, because he's all
Yeah.
about the 1940s,
And
right?
50s, yeah.
Yeah, poor guy. I mean, just get over it. But still, he's going to use that old line.
Yeah.
And you think people are going to see through it? Hollywood, of course, remember, they suffered at it. The
Yeah.
first blacklist, so they're going to.
Well, and remember, Roy Cohn was the lawyer for McCarthy,
Yeah.
and he was also a big influence on Donald Trump. So.
Yeah.
I think the Democratic Party needs to claim that. To say, we're not commies, or some kind of a line where,
Yeah, the Democratic Party has their own problems, but
That's
I mean,
true.
The Republicans, their thing going into the midterms is everyone's a commie.
of course.
Yeah.
That means you and me and Barbara.
A lot of naming,
And-
a lot of
and-
blame.
yeah.
Yeah, not a name calling.
And it's not one of those things that is, it's one of those tropes that's so old that you wonder,
Yeah.
how could you pull this off and dust it off? But apparently that happens all the time in history.
That's right.
Whatever
And
worked
in
before.
some quarters it works.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. In some corners it works. And I don't know. I'm just waiting because, please, God, let's give us the House. And if there's any justice, give us the seats in the Senate, at least one, just so we're one. Over.
It'll be interesting.
It will be interesting,
Yeah.
and it's not locked up yet. So what we need, if you're listening, is we need your vote. So if you're planning, great. You can wait here and listen to the music. If you haven't, you should go right now and register to vote. This is never going to be more important than this presidency. Who knows? But I'll tell you what, if Trump decides to run for a third term, does that mean that Obama can run for one too?
Yeah, that's a question that would be, but Obama's smarter than that. He wouldn't want to run again.
No, of course not. Well, I don't
He's
think-
had enough.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Blame
His hair is white now. Oh my God.
Yeah.
He got old real quick.
And he's not that old.
Yeah, exactly. But like I said, the one thing we know how to do is keep our voice here and to keep letting you know what's going on, what's the truth about what's out there, and getting you to vote.
Just
It's
vote.
really important. Yeah, just
vote. Just vote.
I'm surprised so many people didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
You know.
sad.
Just
It makes a difference.
Whoever you
What-
vote for, just vote.
Yeah, because then if it's an overwhelming landslide for another Republican, then whatever, it'll be what it is.
Yep.
But if we vote and get out there, especially if every woman in the country votes, I think that would take it away. All right. Well, that's enough for this segment. We are going to talk about the part 2 of my great bean and cheese burrito hunt.
Oh,
coming
I'm
up.
ready for this.
Oh my God! There's been a new entry, a late entry.
Good.
We'll do that. First, we got a song coming up.
Yeah, this is our pal Aaron Lee Tasjan, who we had on the show a few months ago, and he gets into the politic thing occasionally, and he did recently when he posted about a show he performed, and he performed this song we're about to play, and a bunch of people walked out during the show. Not a lot of people, but a few people, and he's the one that brought it up, and he said, it's great that people will, if they don't like a song, that they'll show that they don't like the song and then walk out. I have no problem with that. He said that most people stayed and gave me a standing ovation at the end of the show, but everybody should have their say. Well, the right-wing media picked up on it. It was in the Drudge Report and all sorts of right-wing blogs that this country singer had been humiliated and so on and so forth. And it ended up he also got death threats because of it. So I thought we'd play the song, and it's a great, great tune. I think we might have played it on the show years ago, but it's a song called I Love America Better Than You.
That's great.
All right, Aaron Lee Tasjan and I Love America Better Than You.
LBP on your dial. keep it here and stay a while. The sound of Long Beach, oh so sweet. KLVP can't be beat.
This is Mornings on the Beach for your Saturday, Sunday infotainment. Danny Lemos right here.
Mike Stark.
And
Barbara Kingsley Wilson.
in studio with us, we have some special guests. Now, when they arrived, they said, do you want to know a little bit about us? And I said, we know enough to get to the interview, but everything else is going to be a surprise. So welcome to the show. And Bridgett.
I'm Bridgett Corey.
And?
Hi, I'm Nancy Velasquez.
And you're with?
The School of Sexuality project.
Okay, like I have questions.
Yeah, you should. This is going to be a big surprise.
The School of Sexuality project. Tell us what you guys do. What does that organization do?
So we're an organization dedicated to destigmatizing conversations around the body, pleasure, and identity. We create comprehensive, inclusive sex education programming for K through college age.
Oh, that's really fantastic.
It is. I think so.
Now, you have a background in this sort of education?
I do.
Tell me.
I do. So I have been teaching sex education for over 10 years as a certified sex educator. I have my BA in Women's Gender and Sexuality Studies, my MA in Education Foundations, and I'm currently working on my PhD in cultural theory.
Oh, that's so awesome. And how are you involved in the project?
So a couple years ago, Bridgett and I were in undergrad together, and I decided to intern for her, and she's taken me under her wing ever since, and I was fortunate enough to get hired afterwards, and here I am assisting her.
Same thing here. When our interns show up, they end up being our staff when they're done.
Right.
She's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I know how that feels. That's really great. So where I first came into contact with the organization was at the Pride Parade. So you know those people that are on the street and they're protesting, the religious folks, right? And they're really loud, but they're cornered and they're fenced off, right? Y'all were marching dressed up as female genitalia. Did I get that right?
The vulva.
Sometimes female, sometimes not.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And you guys were in front of them and you were shouting them out because you were so loud, and it was so great to see. It was a lot of fun.
I love that you saw us.
Yeah, we did. And so when we got your press release about the upcoming gala, we thought we got to have them in.
Oh my God,
So
I'm so excited to
Let's
be here.
talk a little bit about what the gala is about. It's called the Vulva Gala?
Yes, it is. It is the Vulva Gala.
Oh. And it celebrates...
Body diversity. It's specifically what we do is we center the vulva as a jumping off point to larger conversations.
Oh, wow.
The vulva is the most stigmatized body part that anybody has.
Okay.
It's the one that most people don't know all the information about. About 40% of people who own a vulva can't tell you all of the parts of it. So we center the vulva as an initial conversation starter, right? We use art, we use humor as a way to kick these conversations off. And then the Vulva Gala is essentially a community learning event. We have entertainment, we have panels, we have a vulva fashion show, which is the highlight of the event.
Okay. So what are we going to see? Vulva fashion show. I have so many images in my head, but it's probably not what. Are they dressed up as vulvas?
Well, you saw us in the parade,
I
right?
did, yes.
Okay.
Oh, you can do that.
Kind of. So what we
wow.
do is we take our iconic costumes, which actually my father originally was the one that started making them. Yeah. So we take these
great.
costumes, and these are the costumes that we wear in our curriculum when we're teaching young people.
Oh, no kidding.
So we use humor, we use cartoons, we use songs, we use costumes, which are our young people's favorite part of the curriculum. And we give them to artists all over Los Angeles. We ask them to modify them in a way that sends the message of destigmatizing bodies, whatever that means to them. And then we have a vulva fashion show of these wearable pieces of art. Yeah, it's incredible, honestly. This will be our second year doing it.
Okay, what was the first year like? Did everybody jump to the idea?
You know what? I think the first year was a little bit of pulling people in, trying to get them there. We were lucky enough to have about 150 folks at our first event, which is pretty successful, I'd say. We're a tiny organization. You're literally looking at 75% of the team right now. So
we understand. Small, but strong.
Definitely mighty.
That's great. Well, listen, as being the males in the minority today in the studio, we are in the minority. What's one thing that a male should know about a female's vulva?
Well, first of all, you should know that most people who own a vulva also do not know much about it and have a lot of stigma surrounding it. So there's a lot of shame. A penis's pleasure is always prioritized in any sort of education. It is normalized. It's normalized that people who have penises are going to draw them everywhere, talk about them, use them as slang words. It's just, you're going to find them on the back of every single bathroom stall. You know, penises are normalized, whereas vulvas are not. And most people don't even know that they're called
I don't think
a
I
vulva.
could draw one if my life depended
Exactly. So I think just kind of coming into the space and recognizing that people who do have vulvas have a really great opportunity to break that stigma, and with support from people who have penises, they can definitely help create that space.
So the vulvas and the penises go together very well.
They are best friends.
Oh, okay.
They aren't necessarily together forever, but they are definitely buddies. They're made up of the same thing.
That's wild.
All the same tissues, all the same makeup. It's just organized in a different way.
I want to find out about the curriculum that you guys put out there and how that works and how you use it in the school.
So our curriculum is customized to each community that we go into. We work with young kids, talking about puberty, consent, identity, body knowledge, body care. We work with middle schoolers around protection, definitely consent, body care, body knowledge. And the way that we do this is we work closely with the community that we are coming into. We talk to the parents. We create parent workshops. We want to create a safety net so that it's really just us coming in and initiating a conversation, and we want to support parents in continuing those conversations.
Now, is this accepted by the schools, or do you do it outside the school system?
Oh, good question.
Both and. So there's a lot of attacks on sex education right now, especially right now. I don't know if you heard about the pregnancy prevention program taking a very, very deep cut from the Trump administration, and all funds are being pushed over to abstinence-based only education. Now, we live in a state where we have legal protections. We have the California Healthy Youth Act, which helps to make sure that we are inclusive, comprehensive, and that everybody's receiving sex education before they leave middle school. Whether or not that actually happens is a whole nother story.
Okay.
So we do have some schools that do reach out and they want to have inclusive, approachable, relatable sex education. So they'll reach out to us, we'll work closely with them. And then we have lots of other school districts that are very scared to make any changes or any shifts.
That's why I asked, because I imagine there's a lot of pushback on any sort of sex in the schools.
Yeah, well, and I think that's where we kind of get to the point of a lot of adults come from this all or nothing brain mindset that sex education is either we don't tell them anything and they'll never know and they'll never find out and they'll never have it, or we just have to tell them everything. When in reality, we're not coming into young kids' spaces and telling them how to have sex or what sex is. It is baby steps. There is age-appropriate ways of talking about bodies. And I think that a lot of people react in fear because they think that that's what we're doing. But we're not.
Sure. Yeah. Now, before we run out of time, the gala. Let's make sure everybody has the information.
Yeah.
When and where and all the details.
So it's going to be on Saturday, August 15th from 11 to 3 p.m. at the First Congregational Church of Long Beach. Yes.
That's
great.
pretty amazing in itself.
If somebody wants to go, what's the website they can find to get all the information? Or
Oh, yeah. So you can find us at the School of Sexuality Project.org, and it'll be right there.
That's great. So are you getting ready for the Vulva
I'm so
Gala?
excited. This is my first year being able to attend, so I'm so excited and I hope everyone's able to go.
Is there a red carpet?
There is.
Oh, no kidding. No, that's great. It's so great. Now, so the folks from the School of Sexuality Project, we have the whole staff here. Thank you for coming by and letting us know a little bit more about what's going on. And I know you've been on the station before. You were on Tea with Cinnamon. Yeah, that's where I heard you guys talking first here on the air. Yeah.
Yes, we love Cinnamon. Cinnamon.
It's so great.
We had a
Cinnamon.
nice chat with
I know.
Cinnamon and our host, Chi-Chi.
Yeah, so we have the ability to spread the word if you need it. Obviously, we're doing it now, but if you need anything else, come on by.
Please do. Like we said before, the cuts to the funding that is directly impacting us.
That's great.
And we could definitely use all the support from our community and the people who believe in the work that we're doing.
Great. Melanie was supposed to do the interview. She's out today. However, because I was supposed to do the comic relief. So I'll do all my jokes now. No.
I was going to say, I disciplined myself a lot on this one.
But I learned, and you learn something, and because I was going to say, you speak of most people owning. Do anybody lease or rent?
Oh, sometimes,
That's just funny. It's not making fun. Anyway, thank you so much, Bridgett and Nancy, for coming by today and being on the show. And I hope we'll get a chance to see. I know Melanie's planning on going.
Oh, yes.
To the gala.
Yes,
So
definitely.
see.
We hope to see all of you
It'll be so
there.
much
It's going
fun.
to be amazing. It's going to be a
sure
lot of
is.
fun, a lot of learning. And one more thing, you can also find us on Instagram at school_of_sexuality. See all the things that we're doing there.
Right. And if you like this and you want to get in touch with them, that's a good way to do it. You can
Definitely.
DM them there. All right. Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you. Thanks for
That's
having us
great.
on.
You're welcome. That's so awesome. That's one of the good things about this show is we get a chance to bring you, the audience, in on what's going on that you may not have heard about.
Right.
So this is one thing for sure. But KLBP supports you. Obviously, you've been on 2 shows now. But thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. But in the meantime, we got a piece of music coming
Well,
up.
I thought this is an old song, but it is so appropriate in this time where everybody's a commie. Because this is a Bob Dylan song from 1962 or 63. I think it was on his first or second album. Might have been his first album. And it talks about the fact that back then everybody was a commie too. And the interesting backstory on this song is this is the song that prevented Bob Dylan from being on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Oh, wow.
He had gone in, he did the dress rehearsal to be on the Ed Sullivan Show. He performed this song in dress, and they said, maybe you better change the song. He walked out of dress rehearsal and never came back.
Oh, wow. Good for him.
So this is Bob Dylan and Talkin' John Birch Paranoid Blues. All right, that's Bob Dylan and Talkin' John Birch Paranoid Blues.
Awesome. This morning's on the beach. Danny Lemos right here.
Mike Stark.
Barbara Kingsley Wilson.
And Melanie's taking the day off, but she'll be back with us next week. In the meantime, on the last show, we talked about my search for an under $10 bean and cheese burrito since I lost Adalberto's on 7th and Walnut. Okay, I know it seems not as important to you, but it's really important to me. And other people, the response has been kind of cool.
I'm with you on this. In fact, let me get a pen here.
Yeah, you're going to need it because
take notes.
I have really put some research over the last, it's been about 10 weeks. So we've talked about Adalberto's and Bixby Knowles, because Burritos, right? We went to that. Boss Burritos, Supermex, and Adalberto's in Lakewood. Those are the ones that were in the first episode. So we continue on now with our candidate number 5, and this is Eduardo's, which is iconic in Long Beach, right? At Pacific Coast Highway and Loynes.
Are you sure it isn't Enrico?
Enrique's.
I was just looking that up.
Because I go there we've gone there.
That's good.
Let's go backwards.
Start over.
Enrique's.
Yeah, because
I was just looking that up. 'cause
I used
thought
to
that
work in
sounded
that
wrong.
center, so
Okay.
I knew. Yeah.
It's Enrique. Sorry about that.
Whoops.
Maybe I was hungry. Who knows? But Enrique's Burrito, right? So bean and cheese burrito. First of all, I think it's $9, and it's pretty fair, right? It's a good burrito. It's your standard. So I would say that if I'm going to judge it against the other burritos, this is pretty much the standard bean and cheese burrito. So it doesn't really knock you out. But it was good, and it was cheap, under $10. So we move on. All right, the next candidate I had was Coco Reño's, which is on the corner of Broadway and Redondo, there in the what's called the Reno Room, right next to it. So you could actually sit in Coco Reño's. They have like 4 tables, and you can get them to bring you a drink. You can have a margarita with it, which I recommend.
Nice.
With a shrimp quesadilla. However, I had the bean and cheese burrito, and it was lackluster. I got to just say, it just was lackluster. It was like the beans were too, I don't know if they were they were overcooked. And it just didn't, anyway, that was all right. But size was just an average, because I judge it by its weight. So the next one I had on here was La Chancla, which is on Cherry at 10th, next to the Northgate Market, right there. La Chancla is sort of a new fusion place, and they have all the regular Mexican food. But the bean and cheese burrito came with stuff that shouldn't be in a bean and cheese burrito. But you don't put
Such
corn.
as?
Corn, you don't put that in there. And then, and the beans had like a flavor that was added to it that I couldn't identify. It was a cross between adobo and cumin, but a weird flavor to it. So I thought, no, this won't do. And it was also very small, but it's also under $10. So they
So these are all under $10, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's my thing. I want to find it for under $10. Bean and cheese burritos shouldn't cost more than $10.
Let me stop you before you go to the next one. So you don't want anything in that burrito except the bean and cheese.
Bean and cheese. I'm a purist. Now, I can add stuff.
I like onions in my bean and cheese burrito.
Well,
No rice.
No, rice should not be in a bean and cheese burrito. That's a bean, rice, and cheese burrito.
So there, Barbara.
Guacamole.
Guacamole you can add on. I think that's all right. But I usually put jalapenos, but I won't because I read the news about the jalapeno outbreak. So I'm going to skip that this week. But I finally had enough cash in my wallet to go to Tito's Bakery on 4th. Have you ever been?
No.
Let me tell you something. If I judge a burrito by the heft, that's the winner. When she handed it to me, I said, this is 1.5 pounds of beans in here. It was enormous. And slathered with at least 2 handfuls of cheese. I like the cooks that go, I'm not paying for this.
Right.
And it was it was good. I didn't even go home. I sat down right there and ate it. It was so good.
And where was that?
Tito's Bakery.
Tito's, okay.
But you got to have cash. They don't take any of the modern stuff, just cash, which I always think is this the front for something else? But I don't care because they make a damn good burrito. So that was really great. But then the find of the week, ladies and gentlemen, I found on Instagram, Ma and Pa Grocery in Belmont Heights, right? It's
on Colorado
and Roycroft. Look for it. It's worth it. Just go on in there. I went in and said, can I have a bean and cheese burrito? She said, yep, no problem. And she turned around, and the cook is like 100% Mexican. I thought, this is going to be great. And he made his grandma's beans because I was, that old cartoon where the dog used to sniff, go, and then he'd levitate off the ground. That was me. I was happy. That would be my number one at the moment. So we're still not done. We got 3 more candidates, but we're going to choose the number one, and then I'm going to go over there and interview them for this show.
Oh, good.
So the Great Bean and Cheese Burrito Hunt number 2. The current winner this week is Ma and Pa's, right? Brought into a close second with Tito's because of the heft of their burrito. If you need to feed 2 people, that's where you go. So there we go. Yes, that's me as a public service to our audience here on Mornings on the Beach. So I just want you to know. And you're welcome to do your own surveys. That's just my thing. But it's funny how many people have gotten into this with me.
Yeah, I love a bean and cheese burrito, but I gotta have onions on it.
And you can add those.
Yeah.
But I really want to taste it first just so that it's fair to everybody.
Gotcha.
Your favorites tend to have black beans. I think those are good.
I make my own black beans, refried black beans, and I put onions in there, and it's better than I can find anywhere else. But I'll make my own sometimes. In fact, I did make my own bean and cheese refried burrito the other day, and it was as good. It wasn't as good as I can buy because, first of all, you have to make it.
It already tastes better. It always tastes better when you go out.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
the best. But I went back the next day to Ma and Pa's for the breakfast burrito, which really rocks. It's not under 10, but it's worth whatever they charge. I don't even pay attention. Just give it to me.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of deli stuff in there and groceries, and they're so nice. And there's tables outside for the dog and me. But it was really great. So I enjoyed doing this. And we'll do it some more.
All right.
So if you want to find out about us, DM us on our Instagram page and let us know where you want us to go and check out the food. All right. Excellent. So I think that's all the time we have for today. We've certainly covered enough things.
We certainly did. Man, we were all over the board today, weren't we?
We really were, but
Yeah.
that's great. And Melanie will be back with us next week.
Hopefully.
We keep her seat warm for her. And we're going to go out with, actually, first we're going to find out if there's anything on LA radio stations that we have to pay attention to this weekend.
Bill Ward is back with his August show, and he'll be playing. He's doing a set of Black Sabbath, I know that, and he's going to play one of his solo cuts, and it's always fun to have Bill with us in the studio. So,
well, that's great. And before we go, we're going to say goodbye. Danny Lemos right here.
Mike Stark.
Barbara Kingsley Wilson.
See you next week.
And we've got Peter Frampton taking us out with Buried Treasure.